meeting of the Raynham Zoning Board of Appeals. I would announce that the participating board members, to my left, Francis McGurk, to my right, Peter Shondak. My name's Carl Varana. And I would announce that the proceedings are being transcribed and recorded. We're getting a wicked echo here. What's... All right. Would the clerk please read the petition and other relevant matters?
The Raynham Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 13th, 2021, 7 p.m. at Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall, 558 South Main Street, to consider petition number 1015, Donald and Paula Damiano, Raynham, Mass. Request for a special permit in accordance with Raynham zoning bylaws, section 7.4, specific use authorized by special permit to allow a private garage exceeding 12,000 square feet. Locus property is 96 Elm Street East, assessors map 3, lot 92C, Raynham. This meeting will be held at Raynham Town Hall, but a virtual meeting link will be shown on the posted Zoning Board of Appeals agenda on the Town of Raynham website at least 48 hours in advance, and the hearing for those wishing to attend by remote connection. Please call the Board of Appeals office at 508-824-2745 for further information. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should attend the hearing. A copy of the plan and application may be viewed in full by appointment at the Raynham Town Clerk's office or Board of Appeals office.
Thank you. Was the petition signed?
Yeah. Jennifer Oldfield, I believe.
Thank you. Would all those who intend to give testimony please rise? Anybody who wishes to say anything or might say anything, rise, raise your right hand. Anybody else who wishes to speak or who may speak, please stand up. Thank you. Do you all swear that the testimony you're about to give this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You may be seated. Would the petitioner or his representative please present the reasons for granting the petition? Who's speaking for you guys?
I am. Good evening. My name is Rebecca. I'm the engineer for the applicant and Silva Engineering.
Full name?
Rebecca Baptista. I'm here to show that we are asking to construct a 1,500 square foot garage. I'm not 100% sure. I know this was there and it was approved before, and then the application lapsed. I'm not sure if that was submitted or not. Can I have the applicant speak a little further on that?
Absolutely.
He would have an understanding of it.
Sure.
You did have this up before, right?
Yeah, so, Gregory Fix.
Take off your hat.
Sure.
And state your full name for the record, please.
Gregory Fix. So there's a existing foundation that's 30 by 50 there that came with the house when it was bought. And we're looking to put a garage up on that foundation. Excuse me. The original proposal was for a barn when the house was built. The previous owner never built the house, built the barn, so just the foundation exists. So for us to stay within the 1,200 square feet, it would require us to demo and modify that foundation, which we're trying to avoid.
Okay. Anything else? Is there anyone else here who's favorable to the petition and wishes to speak? Do board members care to ask questions of the petitioner? Frank?
The only thing that you're asking for is for the size you meet the setbacks, and you meet the sideline and the frontage setbacks, and
That's correct.
Yep.
I don't have
Peter?
any questions.
Now, this is a garage just for personal use, right? It's not gonna be like where you fix cars for you know,
Yeah. I
oil
understand what you
change,
mean.
whatever, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
just
it's-
personal use, storage of
and,
toys, essentially.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like for boats and whatnot.
Put the boat in the car, yes.
Okay. And you said the slab is already there?
Correct. So the knee wall of the foundation is there. There's no poured slab in it yet. It's just the framed
Oh,
out knee
okay,
wall. But
the
yeah.
side walls, okay.
Yeah. So we do intend to pour the slab, obviously, and then put the structure up.
Anything else, Peter?
No.
Is there anyone else who is in favor of the petition or wishes to be heard? Do you wish to say anything else, sir? Do you have anything to add?
No, unless there's any other questions, I'm good.
Are there any communications favoring the petition?
Special permit. I do not see any communications. No transmission from civil engineer.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Are there anyone, you may be seated, sir. Are there any objectors present who wish to speak against this petition? Anyone?
I got a question.
Raise your, stand up. Full name for the record, please.
Peter Aldred. I live at 86 Elm Street. I'm just curious, I just want to make sure, kind of what you said, that there's no business run out of it. You know, like cement trucks or tar trucks or any of that. Is that an issue? Or?
I mean, I think the statement, if I understood it, was that there will be no commercial
No
or
commercial?
business use at all, strictly private use.
Do we need to put that in the
Yeah,
conditions?
I'd like to
Yes.
see that as
Yeah.
a condition. Yes.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
I think not that there'll be that use, you know, for the long run, but they will need to come in and pour the floor with probably a concrete truck.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and then they'll probably pave a driveway, so they will be paving, but just for.
Yeah, no, I'm not that particular.
Okay.
I just don't want to have trucks going back and forth, you know,
Sure.
cement trucks and tar trucks and road trucks. As long as that, I'm fine with it.
All right. Is there anyone else here who is who objects to this petition or wishes to be heard? Would you care to summarize, or are you satisfied with?
I'm satisfied. It's an existing foundation. We're looking to build a expanded garage for personal use.
Are there any pertinent comments from others? I would declare the meeting closed. The board will go into executive session. All may remain while the board deliberates, but none may speak. Frank?
I don't have any problem with it. It's, you know, it's just a little bigger than you know,
Yeah.
would be allowed, and it'd be a shame to have to cut the end wall and bring it back about 10 feet.
10 feet, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter?
Yeah, same, and as long as the stipulation is in the conditions that it's only for personal use and not a business, that's fine, yeah.
In that case, we're ready to
Move
vote.
to accept.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
The board has granted your petition by unanimous vote. I would again declare the meeting open, and anyone have any objections to the decision may file an appeal to the Superior Court, and that appeal shall be filed with the town clerk within 20 days of the filing of the board's decision with the town clerk. Thank you. You're all set.
Do I need to read the bottom part there about the Zoom meetings, or no?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Ready for the next one?
Ready for the next one.
Raynham Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 13th, 2021, 7 p.m. at Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall, 558 South Main Street, to consider petition number 1016, Joseph and Monique Sullivan, North Carver, Mass. Request for 2 variances from Raynham zoning bylaws, section 6.12.2, estate lots requirement to allow creation of 2 estate lots, each having frontage on a private way, Oakland Ave, instead of frontage on a public way as required by section 6.12.2 of the zoning bylaws. Locus of the property is shown on Raynham Assessors Map 17, Lot 24. And, let's see. The notification. This is a triplicate here. Notification of abutters is signed by Jennifer Van Solfield.
Thank you. Just for the record, the proceedings are being transcribed and recorded to provide full and accurate minutes and to allow full participation of the clerk. Sir, I'm sorry. Would all those who intend to give testimony with respect to this matter please rise? Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony about to give this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may be seated. Would the petitioner please come forward and present the reasons for granting the petition?
Good evening. My name's Frank Gallagher. I'm Gallagher Engineering in Foxborough. And I'm here with Joe Sullivan, who's the applicant and the owner of the property. So let me maybe just put you on the locus to begin with. I guess. I'm gonna stray away from the microphone, but to get to this property, you go down South Street, and it may well be the last right-hand turn before you go into East Taunton, but it's Sandy Hill Road.
Mm-hmm.
And travel down Sandy Hill to really to the end, and at a point Sandy Hill turns into Oakland Avenue, and at that point it becomes a private way. And this property is about an 8-acre property that's on Oakland Avenue. So if you go to the very end of Oakland Avenue, you actually hit the land that's owned by the temple. And that temple that's on South Street actually owns quite a bit of property.
Mm-hmm.
So they're an abutter on this side of the property, and the land that we're going to present to you tonight is on the left-hand side right before the roadway ends. And Joe, when he bought this property, this was all just a dirt road. So we went to the planning board a few years ago and talked to them about improvements and what they saw as adequate access, and they gave us specifications, and Joe has since fulfilled those specifications that the planning board had, so that they have deemed it to be, the improvements that Joe's made has been deemed to be adequate access for the property. So what we did was we presented a special permit to the planning board to create 2 estate lots. So what we have is the frontage for this property goes along here. So we have an estate lot here with 50 feet of frontage. We have a conventional 40,000 square foot lot, which is what the regular residential zoning requires, with 150 feet of frontage. And then we have a third lot that's also an estate lot. So we went to the planning board for special permit. We were granted special permit. And then after that action took place, it was pointed out to us that if you actually read the section, and that is section 6.12.2, and the list of requirements, it says that the frontage of said lot, meaning an estate lot, needs to be entirely on a public way. The planning board didn't really realize that. We didn't realize that either, and so we got an approval, and now we're finding ourselves having to fall back and come to you, and we're seeking relief from that one particular requirement in section 612.2. The roadway's paved at this point. Joe's brought it all the way up to a paved roadway. There's town water and town sewer here. And again, as I say, the planning board has determined that this represents adequate access. So the only issue is that it's not a public way, it remains a private way. And Joe, I think, has some correspondence and some, he's been through some meetings with the highway engineer and the water and the sewer department, so I'm going to just let him speak to that.
Okay.
It's Joe Sullivan, and it's North Carver. I own the property. Part of the requirements through the planning board was to go through each of the town entities to get their approval, and along with the fire and police department. And I've gotten letters from all 5 entities: water, sewer, police, fire, and the requirements met by the DPW at Buckley. I can give you copies of those just for
Please.
record.
They're not.
Yeah.
Full. They're not. I can't hear. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get 2 so I can put one in the folder? Thank you. Thank you.
So each step of the way, I was required to go through each entity to make sure that, the installation and whatever I was doing was going to meet the town requirements based on not only the road improvements, but water and sewer lines that were provided within that location.
Anything else, sir? Is there anyone else here who's favorable to the petition and wishes to be heard?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is all of this land on this side of the gate out there, the fence that's blocked, that has the road blocked off?
It's all of the land is behind that gate. That gate will be removed. I just did that to protect the road because it was getting torn up by vehicles and so.
And yet the road on that side of the gate is as what was asked for by the town?
Yeah, and it's being paved. It's the grade to where it is right now is at base grade before they binder in asphalt.
And how wide is it going to be?
22 and there's 18 feet of asphalt. We wanted 2 feet of gravel on each side with it, and I made provisions for snow removal and drainage.
Any questions for you?
Well, looking at the map in here, this Pine Street says it's private way. So is that someone else's private way, or?
So there's a number of houses that run along that area. I don't know how many houses there are total. I want to say 3 or 4 that run from where the section of asphalt was started to where it's going to go through to my property. Private way runs from that point on.
But your question about Pine Street,
Yeah.
Pine Street, honestly, at this point, is simply
Paper road.
lines on a piece of paper.
It's a paper road.
Oh, that's what I was
It's all
going to
pre-
ask. Is
There's nothing constructed, there aren't.
because I don't see it up
It's
here,
all wood.
No.
but I see this, and I'm wondering why if there's going to be a street this way, that's plenty of frontage for that lot.
Yeah, Pine Street is not constructed at all. There
And-
isn't even a copy.
And I was required as part of the planning board to put not a throughway because I didn't want to have a throughway going through that point. I wanted to keep it private, not only for me but for the neighbors as well. So, and I put those signs up along with the requirements through the planning board and the Department of Public Works.
Sandy Hill Ave, when you come off of South Street, you take a right onto Sandy Hill Ave, let's say, and go.
Yes.
That road doesn't go too far before it turns sharply up and to the right, is that right?
Correct.
That's correct.
And is that pardon?
And I think it goes straight a little bit more after that right.
Yeah.
There's a
little
couple houses there.
Yeah, there's a little
There's
bit
like
down
1, 2,
there.
3
but-
houses, yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, it turns to the right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then from that point on, it just keeps going back and,
Yeah, it makes a
That's
loop.
correct.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That little jog up the hill there and around the corner, is that
It has
right?
nothing to do with my property, that's Lena's property.
That's right. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Well, yeah. And, yeah, strike that, never mind. Would anyone else who is in favor of this care to be heard? Would the clerk read any communications favoring the petition?
The ones they just gave us?
Then, yeah. Do we want to read all 5 of those into the record?
Sure. Yes,
Go
sure.
ahead, why not?
All right. So this is from the Assistant Water Superintendent of Raynham, John Chase. The water line, Mr. Sullivan, the water line and 3 services for the 3 lots have been installed, are approved and ready for tie-in. If you or anyone else has any questions, please feel free to contact the Water District office. And then this one's from Robert Carey, Raynham Sewer Superintendent. This is to certify as part of this 3-lot subdivision, Mr. Joseph Sullivan has extended the low-pressure sewer main to service 3 lots known as Plot 24 Oakland Street. The low-pressure sewer main along with a terminal cleanout manhole was installed and tested in accordance with the Raynham Sewer Department rules and regulations. It is my understanding these 3 lots, along with the sewer extension, remain privately maintained as part of a homeowner's agreement.
That's correct.
So, all right. And this one is from the Fire Chief, Brian Lasivita. Regarding Plot 24 Oakland Road, Sandy Hill Road, I have reviewed the plans and it remains consistent with the proposal of the property as of July 6, 2017. Paved public roadway portion of Sandy Hill Road leading up to the Sullivan property provides safe access for emergency vehicles. The proposed extension of Sandy Hill Road consisting of the 22-foot wide road and proposed turnaround has met the requirements of the fire department. And then from Police Chief Donovan, regarding Plot 24 Oakland Street, Sandy Hill Road, I met with Joe Sullivan at his property on July 6, 2017 to discuss the property and issues around the existing roadway. I approved the paved public roadway portion of Sandy Hill Road leading up to the Sullivan property, which constitutes safe access for emergency vehicles with a proposed extension of Sandy Hill Road consisting of a 22-foot road and turnaround. And that was from the police chief. Now, they keep saying a turnaround.
So I made a hammerhead at the end of it, and it basically, I extended the right side, if you're looking at that, another 12 feet back so that they made an adequate turnaround to come back.
On the
Right,
plan.
but now, so would that end up being the driveway for this proposed
Eventually,
house?
there would be a driveway off of that. Yep.
Okay. So then
That's-
they would
that's what I'm
consider the
planning to do.
driveway the turnaround?
Right.
Okay.
Well, the driveway would extend off of that.
Okay.
That's 22 foot wide as well. The driveway would be obviously less than that as I move forward.
And none of them said anything about any type of curbing or anything?
No.
Just
Adequate from what I did, and I put a drainage swale on the right-hand side just to encapsulate. I pitched the road so it encapsulated into that drainage swale.
Okay. All right.
Question, for these lots, what's the acreage required for an estate lot?
It's 80,000 square feet, so it's less than 2 acres, but it's double what the underlying zone is, which is 40,000. So
And
you reduce the frontage from 150 to 50, but then you double the area.
And I made the lots, I separated the retreat lots for a couple of reasons. One, to be sensitive to the neighbor. I wanted to make sure that there was enough acreage between them and the first lot. Then I made the regular lot in the middle, and then a lot that I would be residing on, the larger one on the farthest right, to separate not only driveways, but the separation between any vegetation that might be towards their location as well.
And like this plan has been passed with the planning board?
Yeah, they passed it, and then they obviously, last meeting, asked me to go in front of you because of that technicality with the language.
So after you're done here, you're back to the planning board?
Back to the planning
Oh,
board.
boy. Any other questions, Peter?
No.
Is there anyone here who objects to this petition and wishes to be heard? So a couple of people, do you wish to say something?
Can I ask some questions, sir?
Pardon me?
Can I ask some questions?
If you come up and give us your name.
Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Kevin Muir, 19 Sandy Hill. Seems to be some bone of confusion as far as the residents on Sandy Hill as to which section of Sandy Hill is private and which section is actually a public way. And I'd like to see from Mr. Gallagher here if he could show me exactly where the private and public way start. And as far as Mr. Sullivan, he's done amazing jobs on road improvements for the neighborhood. And with those road improvements comes more volume of traffic. And on Sandy Hill, I don't know if any of you people have been down on Sandy Hill, it's one of a little bit of less of God's country. That my mother was born on that street 83 years ago. So she's always known as Sandy Hill. So as far as when Mr. Sullivan builds his homes, actually what road is he going to be living on? Because the houses right next to him are addressed as Sandy Hill. So if he's got Oakland Street, what about his neighbor here? Are they on Sandy Hill or are they on Oakland Street? Are we going to have to renumber the whole road at the turn that you were suggesting earlier? When you come up the road, you go to the right. I live down on the right. So is that a future thing that's going to happen for the residents, that one day the town decides, oh, we got to change everybody because when you show up with emergency vehicles, you don't know where you're going. Oakland Street or Sandy Hill. So that's one thing. I have a huge thing with volume of traffic right now in my neighborhood due to the construction. One of the properties that was on there was owned by the town, taking my taxes years ago, and all of a sudden it shows up that we put it up on a bid, it got sold, now we're getting 2 more houses. So my concern in this whole issue here, and I know that he's got the suggestions from the police and the fire and all that, but is the volume of traffic. And, excuse me, Mr. Sullivan assured me when he started all these things that he was doing, that he wouldn't open it up to Carlton Street, which is a paper road over there as well, that Mr. Keith is starting to develop. So my concern is that I don't have 50 cars coming through our neighborhood to go to somewhere else in the future if we start opening this all up. So I'd like Mr. Gallagher, if he could show me where the private road and the public road is.
Are you able to do that, Mr. Gallagher?
Yeah, well, honestly, I can't show you on this plan because it doesn't extend far enough. You'd have to extend my plan in this direction, and if you come down, if you're approaching this lot, at a point, there's a left-hand turn for a driveway for Lima's property. It's
Yes.
kind of a common driveway, really, I think.
It's part of, yes, it's
That loop, right?
Yeah. So from that point on, it's private.
From that road on, it's private?
Yeah.
And the road is designated as what? What's the name of the road?
It's Oakland Avenue.
So,
And the house is numbered as what?
but I can talk on behalf
No,
of
no,
that.
no, we're not going to get into
Yeah.
a
So
crowd discussion here.
Sorry.
this is where, who's gonna maintain what section of the road as far as, because if that starts where you just caved, is that his responsibility? Because I know as well, when my neighbors built their house at 33 Sandy Hill and 59 Sandy Hill, when they originally built their homes, they had to sign a waiver for the town saying that they would maintain that area. So that's Sandy Hill, that's a private way. So,
I'd like to muddy things a little more.
Go ahead.
If it's a private way, isn't that still open to the public?
It is.
So if they extend it beyond anything that's there, it will then be a pass-through, which you can't block,
That's
although it's a
correct.
private way.
Hmm.
So it doesn't end up being much different than a public way. It only does for the sake of a permit,
Okay,
I
so
would guess.
I understand what you're saying as far as that, so let me throw this at you that Mr. Sullivan's here today with a proposal of 2 estate lots, okay, so that's 2 homes, correct, Joe?
Mhm.
Okay, so with 2 homes.
No, it's actually 3, because there's
3,
one in the middle.
There's one in
so
the
now
middle.
you- Okay, there's 3.
There's 3 total.
So there's, my basic, and like I said, I had spoken to Joe before, is that the road where you come up to take the right, to go down to his property and to my property, and to gain access to all the houses on the hill, it's just so narrow right now that 2 vehicles cannot pass at the same time. And I've already, one day I was coming down the road with Mr. Iafredi, the building inspector, and he had to stop, and I had to stop, and I had to back up, and he had to back up, because you cannot get by. So we have in 2 more, actually 3 more houses, that's probably an additional 6 vehicles, plus the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, probably 18 vehicles that are already living there. So now we're jamming possibly 6 more vehicles through that entrance, which is a little bit of a concern to me as far as my neighborhood going. And I mean, I like Mr. Sullivan, and I just like this to kind of be where we're going in the future as far as he's got remaining acreage. Are we gonna come back and say we need
No, I'm
5 or
done.
6 houses?
I'm
Or
done.
you understand what I'm saying? Now we got 15 more cars.
Right.
So
Because it could always be somebody coming in, if you don't get the estate lots, and saying, hey,
Correct.
let's do a 40B
Correct.
here,
Right.
and we'll drop 120 houses on your
right,
head.
yeah, you're absolutely right.
So I can answer the Oakland Street question that you had. The last planning board meeting, they said I would be going in front of the building inspector, and they would be labeling that as Pine Street all the way down. So
Now it's gonna be
Oakland,
Pine Street?
it'll be, I'm sorry, Sandy Hill Road all the way down. Oakland will disappear. That was a paper road back in the 1912 when it was originally drawn on that. So they're gonna rename it so that everybody will have the same, logistic addresses as it moves down that road.
Those are just the main concerns that I had as a resident of the neighborhood, that the volume of traffic as we speak now, there's construction going on, that they removed a hill to build a home, and we got tractor trailer trucks and everything else, and like I said, the main concern for me is the volume of traffic.
Yep.
And if, Mr. Sullivan says in the future, he's not gonna develop the rest of his land to open it up, and we're not gonna have 50 million cars or throughway, and
I would have to go in front of the board anyway, and that's not my
Here
intent.
we
My
are- Here
intent,
we are again, and you go in front of the
Yeah, I
board,
know.
yes, we all have to go in front of the boards, but, yeah, this is the board that we entrust to
Right.
take care of our neighborhoods, to present, and to preserve the sanctity of the neighborhoods. This is the board that we elect, and, yeah, so, that was just my main concern.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Too, there is, one of the requirements, if you go through section 612.2, says that in the event of an estate lot, it says, said lot shall not be further divided, and it shall be noted on the Form A plan before endorsement by the planning board, that said lot shall not be further
Right.
subdivided. So, it's not even a choice really for Joe to make. If this, is approved, one of the
Standard.
stipulations
Right.
is that there's no further subdivision.
I have a quick question now. You're saying that Sandy Hill is not wide enough for 2 cars to go down.
Correct.
Now, is the section you just created wider than Sandy Hill?
It is.
And going back to what you said, they said Sandy Hill was a private way. So is it that the people on Sandy Hill haven't widened the road to make it accessible, or is it?
No, so the point of access where he's talking about is from the point where it turns left to the Lima's property. From there, all the way down through my property, I've increased that road width by 22 feet, the whole length of that road. I have 305 feet. There was an additional 360 feet that was widened to accommodate the vehicle access for adequate access to there. What Mr. Muir is speaking about is the access of the town road that comes in that goes right in front of his property. It narrows at the corner there, and I've spoken to Mr. Buckley about it in general, because it is. Once I begin to live there, as I drive out, I'm cautious of it because I know the property real well. They're looking to make that road a little more accommodating to accommodate two vehicles. He's planning some type of road improvement or resurfacing of that road in the spring.
Okay. All right. No, I was just, because where he said that there's a point where you can only get one car down at a time.
Mm.
It's not that part of the road, though.
No, but I'm not, but what I'm saying is the section you have is, you know, we got all the correspondence that they said it's wide enough for the vehicles and all that. I'm just wondering why that other section wouldn't be also wide enough for two cars to go.
So when
There is one section of that road as you go up Sandy Hill, okay? And it takes a sharp right turn. And the lady that grooms my dog, he's on the corner. And you can't get two cars past each other.
Yeah, you're talking if you went straight, looping around that.
Exactly.
If you went straight on Sandy Hill and going up toward the Limas, it jogs to the right and then loops left. I mean, that's almost like a...
And it's right on the edge of the cliff that goes down to the
there's
river.
a guide
Sort of
rail
a
right
thrill
there.
ride around
Yeah,
the
that's
corner.
it. That's on the other property, but
Exactly.
that property, right?
And honestly, that's all.
It's a driveway.
That whole
Right away.
section of Sandy Hill that we're talking about,
Right.
that's public roadway.
Right.
So really, in this case, the public portion of that roadway is sort of lagging behind the private
Right.
part of the
Yeah.
roadway that Joe's made improvements to.
I just wasn't sure if that was still a private way also, because
It's a right of way up to those
it's
houses.
a right of way.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if they make those improvements and they pave the road down below, it's only gonna make the cars go faster. You know, that's what.
Yeah, but that happens in every neighborhood.
Oh, it does, it does.
And
Every time you pave a road, you're careful with the old road. As soon as you pave it and you make it easy to drive on, you're gonna.
I just want to make it wide enough so it's safe for both vehicles to pass through. I mean, that would be Mr. Muir's concern as well. I mean, as you come around that corner, I agree 100%.
Yeah. I think he had something out back.
Yes, sir.
I just have one more comment. Jeff Muir on 19 Sandy Hill. As far as you were stating, as far as when you come up the road to the right, there are houses there at number 8 that own into the road. So this is where we've been over this. I built my property on my grandmother's property, and I had to come before all the boards and get the approval and everything like that.
Mhm.
But I went around to the neighborhood and I signed a petition because they considered it at the time a private way. So I had to go and get signatures from all my neighbors to say that it was okay to build here.
Okay.
So the section that the town is claiming that is a public way and a private way, I'm disputing, because I know for a fact that my grandmother owned into the road that they currently have there now, at least 5 feet. So if it's a public way or a private way, how can she own and be staked off into the road?
Right.
So
That was my confusion where, you know, you
and a
stated
lot of
it
other
was
people as well, sir, yes. So
Okay.
that section, as soon as you make that turn, they're claiming that it becomes a private way where it goes up to Mr. Lima's property. And Mr. Wool, who, God rest his soul, used to live there on number, what was his number, 8 or 9? Anyways, he had a dispute with the town when they put the sewerage up there, that they were coming across his property with the easement to go into a sewer line, and he was gonna take the people to the town to court. And he actually passed away before it all transpired, but he owns into the road as well. So if it's a public way, how can you own into a public way if your deed says you own to a public way? So that's just what I wanted to bring up as far as when you were mentioning, when you take that turn.
Right, right,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Anything else anyone wishes to add?
I think we're good.
You're good. Opposition is good. Everybody's good. Good. Would the clerk read any communications requesting denial? We have any of those?
No.
No?
I don't believe there was
Okay.
any in here at all.
Would the objectors care to summarize, or are you satisfied with what you presented to the board? Would the petitioner care to summarize, or are you satisfied with what you presented to the board?
Was satisfied.
In that case, I would declare the public hearing closed. The board will now go into executive session. All may remain while the board deliberates, but none may speak. Fran?
Not the best situation in the world, but it is what it is. If he's improved that end of it and improved that, and the town people who are gonna have to work with it, if they're
Yeah.
satisfied, it's okay with me.
Yeah, that's Peter?
I mean, a couple things where he's not gonna be able to develop anymore anyway because of the bylaws, but like Fran said, I mean, that section of the road is actually is more improved than the section further down. I mean, it is plenty of acreage to put 3 houses. It's just the frontage. And all the town offices
Yeah.
feel it's good
Yeah,
to go.
that's basically, the situation is a weird sort of a mess over there. It's
Yeah.
popped up over the course of a number of years, and now it sort of sits there, and nobody seems to quite be able to put a finger on all the details involved. But I agree with you. I don't see a huge downside. You said with the estate lots, you're at least creating a situation where there's not going to be any additional development going on, and that's.
Well, just a question there, Carl. This road that comes in off to the right, the extension of Pine Street,
Yeah.
goes off to unnamed parcel.
Mm-hmm.
If this brings the road down to there, does that open up that toward another way? And it's
It could. I'm not sure, but it
probably
could.
not before us, but it's.
Well, that was my question about the whole Pine Street.
Yeah.
Is, you know, I know it's a paper road and it's not constructed, but
Right. Well, if somebody gets that building idea, then they'll be going before all the boards again, won't they? Yeah. Are you ready to vote, Fran?
Yep.
Move that the petition be voted on. Fran?
Aye.
I
I would again open the meeting. The board has unanimously voted to grant this petition. Anyone having any objections to the decision may file an appeal to the Superior Court, and that appeal shall be filed with the town clerk within 20 days of the filing of the board's decision with the town clerk. Thank you, folks. That's a crazy situation back there.
yeah.
I've been down there before. I think this came before. And I think
You know what? I thought it had also, Fran, and I called Maureen and said, haven't we seen this before? And she said,
Well,
no.
it said 2017 it was proposed before. Do we need to vote on the minutes?
Yes, please.
Oh. Move to accept the minutes of the board dated what, Maureen?
August 18th, I believe.
August 18th,
August 15th.
August 15th.
Yeah, you have them up there.
You're folding them up right now.
I am, no. I put them back on your desk.
Oh, and he's got them.
Pete, you've got them. I put them all back on your desk there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the very back.
I know that area.
Thank you.
Because if you go,
Yeah.
if you go up that windy road, there's like a 90-degree right, and then there's a little weird house in the corner that looks like it's going to drop into the river, and that's my
So
groomer.
it's August 18th.
The lady who grooms my dogs is there.
So move we accept the minutes of August 18th.
I
August
second.
18th, second, yes. Aye.
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 That's it.
That's it.
I'm in motion adjourned.
Second.
Second.
Aye.
Yeah, that's a very weird, that's a very weird little area up there.